There's always a moment when the narcissist realizes something is off. The tone in your voice has changed. The spark in your eyes they used to feed on has gone quiet. You're no longer reacting, explaining, or defending. You're just, still. That silence isn't weakness. It's the sound of power returning to its rightful owner. They feel it instantly. The same person they used to manipulate so easily now feels unreachable. Their words don't land. Their guilt trips don't sting. Their chaos no longer shakes your peace. For the first time, they look at you and see something terrifying: freedom. The kind of freedom they can't control, predict, or own. This moment is where their story starts to crumble. Because a narcissist survives on reaction. Without it, they begin to fade. Let's go deep into what really happens when a narcissist realizes you're no longer under their control. 1. The shift. They didn't see coming at first. They think you're just going through a phase. Maybe you're tired or busy or playing hard to get. They've always counted on your emotional loyalty. But as the silence stretches on, they start to sense it. The shift. You're not just quiet, you're gone. They test you. They say something hurtful to see if you'll fight back. You don't. They bring up an old memory to see if you'll soften. You don't. You've stopped reacting, and to a narcissist, that feels like suffocation. They crave emotional chaos the way a fire craves oxygen, and your detachment is the suffocation of their ego. What they don't realize is that you didn't become cold overnight. You were drained over time. Every insult, every manipulation, every silent treatment chipped away at your emotions until one day, something inside you switched. The person who used to chase their approval now watches them with quiet indifference. That's when they know the power dynamic has shifted. 2. The panic beneath the surface. Once they sense your indifference, panic sets in. Not the kind you see, but the kind they feel in private. They'll pretend to be calm, even smug. But behind that fake confidence, they're spiraling. Because control isn't just what they want, it's what they need to exist. They start analyzing everything you do. They read old texts, replay arguments, scroll through your social media, trying to figure out when they lost their grip. They send random messages just to see if you'll respond. They may even use pity, saying they're not doing well, or hinting at loneliness. They're fishing for your empathy, the same empathy they once used as a leash. When they get nothing but silence, the panic grows. It's not heartbreak they're feeling, it's ego death. They're realizing that the person they used to control emotionally now controls the one thing they never could: their own peace. And for a narcissist, that's unbearable. 3. The rage that follows. Once panic turns to anger, the real mask falls off. They will lash out, insult you, or try to shame you for setting boundaries. Their goal isn't to hurt you, it's to get a reaction. They need your energy to confirm they still matter. And if they can't get your love, they'll settle for your anger. They'll start spreading lies or turning mutual friends against you. They'll tell people you changed, that you became distant, that you abandoned them. What's really happening is projection. They're describing themselves but using your name to protect their image. This is the phase where you must hold your ground. Don't explain, don't defend. Let them talk. Let them spin their stories. Your silence doesn't mean they won. It means you refuse to play their game. Their rage will burn itself out, and in that fire they'll see a reflection of everything they tried to hide. 4. The manipulation. Returns after the storm, they shift again. They might message you, pretending they want closure or friendship. They might say things like, "I've changed," or "I just want to talk." These are not genuine words. They're hooks. The narcissist doesn't miss you. They miss the control. They remember how your compassion used to rescue them, how your heart used to bend. Now they want to see if it still will. They will use nostalgia, guilt, and fake vulnerability to draw you back in. They might say, "No one ever understood me like you did," or "I just want to fix what we broke." Every word is bait. Every apology is a strategy. They are not trying to reconnect with your soul. They are trying to reattach the chain. But you've learned. You've seen the pattern, and once you recognize the pattern, the spell breaks. The most powerful act you can perform is to stay silent and walk away without explaining a thing. 5. Collapse of their ego. When you refuse to re-engage, something inside them shatters. The narcissist's ego is built entirely on external validation. When that validation disappears, so does their sense of self. They become restless, agitated, hollow. They might start mirroring someone new, almost instantly. You'll see them posting photos, acting happy, pretending they've moved on. But that isn't healing. It's distraction. Their new supply is just another attempt to fill the emptiness you exposed. But deep down they know it's not the same, because no one mirrors them as perfectly as you once did. You gave them depth they couldn't find anywhere else. And now every new person feels like a cheap imitation of the control they lost. They will eventually realize that what they destroyed in you was the only thing that ever truly loved them. But by then, it will be far too late. 6. The rise of your power. Your silence is no longer about them, it's about you. You've learned that peace is louder than chaos, that your energy is your currency. You no longer invested in proving yourself to people who thrive on confusion. You've begun to rebuild yourself, slowly, quietly, powerfully. Your confidence doesn't come from validation anymore. It comes from boundaries. You start living for yourself, not for their reaction. The same traits they once mocked, your sensitivity, your kindness, your compassion, become your strength again. But this time, they belong to you. And when the narcissist sees that glow, that unbothered calm, it infuriates them, because they realize your happiness no longer revolves around their approval. They see you thriving without them, and that's the one reality they can't rewrite. The very control they once used against you has now become your greatest weapon. Detachment. 7. The moment. They finally understand. There comes a moment when they stop trying. Not because they've changed, but because they've accepted defeat. They finally realize that they no longer occupy space in your mind. You don't think about revenge, closure, or justice. You just live. They see it in your peace. They hear it in your silence. They feel it in the absence of your reaction. To them, it feels like rejection, but it's not. It's evolution. You've outgrown their level of emotional chaos, and that's something they'll never understand. This realization cuts deeper than any breakup. Because a narcissist doesn't just lose a person, they lose their power source. They lose the ability to manipulate, to provoke, to control. And in that loss, they finally meet the one thing they've been running from their entire life themselves. Final words. Freedom beyond control. When you take your power back, it's not about revenge or payback. It's about peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone's validation. The kind of silence that speaks louder than words. The narcissist will keep looking for people to control, but no one will ever give them the same energy you once did. You were the storm and the calm that followed. And now you've walked away with something they'll never have. Self-awareness. When a narcissist realizes you're no longer under their control, they lose more than influence. They lose the illusion that they ever had power over you in the first place. That's the real ending. Not revenge, not chaos. Just calm, quiet freedom. Because in the end, the most powerful thing you can ever say to a narcissist is nothing at all.